I'm Fred Sigma, and this is How to Win the Science Fair. Today we're going to talk about hypothesis and variables and cats. Usually when you see a flowchart about the scientific method, the thing right after question is hypothesis. Hypothesis is a really big word, but it's actually just a fancy way of saying guess. But even though it's next on the flowchart, before we can make a hypothesis, we have to talk about variables. So let's say you're a professional person who raises kittens, because let's face it, who wouldn't want that job? You hear about a new brand of cat food, Super Mega Best Ultra brand, which is supposed to help cats grow bigger and healthier. And of course you want that because you care about your kittens. So you decide to test their claim. Now as a cat raiser, you might not know very much about cat food, but you know one thing for sure. Kittens grow up. Of course they do. Tiny adorable kittens grow up into big adorable cats. So you know that if you feed all of your kittens Super Mega Best Ultra cat food, they're going to grow bigger because that's what kittens do. And after a month of the fancy cat food, all of them are bigger. But guess what? You can't actually tell if the fancy cat food helped. You have to compare it to something else. So instead of treating all the kittens the same, you decide to divide them into two groups. The first group, you give regular cat food. The second group, you give Super Mega Best Ultra. So you treat the groups the same in every other way. Cuddle them. You give them toys to play with. And at the end of the month, the group who ate Super Mega Best Ultra are a little bit taller than the group who ate regular cat food. Eureka! Now you know that Super Mega Best Ultra does work better than regular cat food, at least by the easily measurable standard of how tall your cats are. This adorable experiment illustrates the importance of variables. Your experiment should have two variables, one independent and one dependent. Your independent variable is the thing that you change while keeping everything else the same, the Super Mega Best Ultra cat food. Your dependent variable is the thing that you measure and expect to change as an outcome of the experiment. In this case, it's the height of your cats. That way, when you see a change, you know, aha, it's because I changed the cat food and nothing else. Finally, there's a vitally important group that I described in this experiment, and it's called the control group. Those are the cats that you gave regular cat food. If the independent variable is the thing that you change, for the control group, don't change the thing. This helps you establish for sure that what happened in your experiment was a result of you changing the independent variable and not something that was going to happen anyway. You knew that your cats were going to grow up, so you kept a group that you gave regular cat food to see how much they were going to grow no matter what. Your experimental or test group is the group who got the fancy cat food. You compared the outcome of your experimental group to the outcome of your control group so that you could show that your independent variable, the thing that you change, cat food, resulted in a change in your dependent variable, the thing that you measure, cat height, that was the result of your experiment and not by accident. Once you've identified what your variables are going to be, you can form your hypothesis. Your question and hypothesis are practically the same thing, except one is a question and one is a prediction that sets out to answer that question. Once you've identified your independent and dependent variables, you should probably think about rephrasing your question to include them. In fact, it's okay if you want to write your question and hypothesis at the same time. Ideally, both your question and hypothesis should reflect your variables. If I change the independent variable, will the dependent variable change? I predict that if I change the independent variable, the dependent variable will be taller, faster, heavier, brighter, or in some way measurably different or not different than if I do not change it. Does Super Mega Best Ultra cat food help cats grow taller? I predict that cats who eat Super Mega Best Ultra cat food will be taller than cats who don't. Oh, and one more thing. Don't worry about getting your hypothesis right or wrong. There's no such thing as right or wrong. What's important about your hypothesis is your ability to think critically about your topic and make a prediction about what might happen in your experiment. I promise science fair judges don't give a rat's eyelid about whether you predicted correctly or not. In fact, in science, it's a lot more interesting when we get our hypotheses wrong, because it means we have to think about a new way to understand what we're doing. Join us next time when we talk about materials and procedure.